everyone, how are you? I'm back to Moscow and I wanted to share a story, something that happened to me yesterday. Basically, I had collaboration with a Peruvian vlogger who's got like 400,000 followers on YouTube and like 150,000 on Instagram. Myself, I have 80 on YouTube and like 50 something on Instagram, so he's bigger than me. And we recorded together. The idea was to record the old Soviet buildings. I was not really excited with the idea because, I already told you I'm not this kind of history person. I'm not a fan of old buildings, even though obviously I respect history and know some basic things, etc. But like when he said, the Soviet for many tourists, obviously it's like super monumental, and understand that it is interesting. But okay, like finally I thought, okay, maybe I discovered something interesting myself, and we started off from one of the 7 Stalin skyscrapers, they are called. One of them that normally you don't pass next to, so some of them like are here a bit closer to my house. For example, here, because of one of the buildings, or like this, the wall that you can see over here, if it wasn't here, this wall, I would see one of the 7 buildings, which is the Moscow State University, one of the most famous one, which is located like on this hill, Vorobyovy Gory, and is far away. And normally, like, it's kind of a walk to first take the train, then walk, because it's not next to one of the train stations. So yeah, it's just there, nice, etc. There is one close to here, which is like along the river. Nowadays it's called like Radisson Hotel. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. It's the view from there is one of the best, I think, because you've got the river, Moscow River, then this normally, like, it's very yellow, those are little lightings of the building, and then behind you have the Moscow city modern architecture. So it's this contrast that from the very beginning, like first sight, I fell in love with. And when you take, actually, I recommend taking the public transport, which is the boat, and it costs like 120 rubles, so twice the price of a normal metro ride. But you take this super modern public transport, the boat, that goes like from one side of the river to another. Normally, like in St. Petersburg, costs 10 times more, and here it's just like public transportation, but it's quite slow. Yeah, so if you have time, especially when it's like nice weather, I recommend it. But this one was on Kudrinskaya Square. The maps said that it used to be a hotel, so I thought it was a hotel. We met together with the Peruvian Mauricio, the vlogger, and yeah, basically the idea was to discover the building and maybe then discover some other one. And we didn't know if we could enter or not, so I waited for him. It's already quite cold, and I put my spring jacket, not the winter jacket, because I'm already very tired. It's almost April, but still very cold. So this is why today I have a bit of fever, so a bit of temperature. I don't know if it's because of the walk or stress, but yeah. So actually it was quite cool outside, and we saw the people were entering, and then it indicated on the entrance, it said like from 1 to 500 something. So it seemed like a real building where people live. So if they live there, theoretically you could enter. But at the entrance, obviously, one lady waited for us who was not ready to let us in, because we noticed that they were asking every person who was entering the number of the apartment they were heading to. And only the delivery guys, but obviously they also have the right to enter, and then they just come back down. So we were like, the Peruvian guy, the Latin mindset is always like, a bit tricky, so they want to, okay, let's just follow someone who goes there. But I thought, because I know the Russian mentality and I know more or less what the person there thinks, and normally the ladies, or it can be like a guy as well, obviously, at the entrance they don't want extra responsibility, and so no one wants to be blamed, and obviously it's their job. There are cameras everywhere, and I understand as well, so if it's not allowed, it's not allowed, right? But there, I don't know actually, because if you can follow us like with the cameras, and we just go up to some let's say level there, because it had like 40 or 50 floors. This is the iconic building, and I was like saying, okay, there is this international person who came here to record, and we would be like quiet. I promised that we follow the rules, etc. But she wouldn't let us in. And maybe then she said like, if you have someone, just a person who could let you in to their apartment, then it's okay, because unless there's nothing to record, there is just the staircase, and there's nothing basically, right? So there is no view from the public space there, common space. And from one time we didn't get a yes, and second and third time there was a group of young men. There was a girl and 3 guys. They were young, and I started talking to them and saying like, please, could you let us like 5 minutes see in your apartment? And finally it was not an apartment. In their case it was like a medical academy or something. So it has a really huge space inside. Maybe I put here a couple of how it looked from inside, but also I will share the whole video of our walk yesterday, because the vlog is recorded in Spanish, but you can see anyway. It was cool to finally get it, and we took the the guys thought that for them maybe it was nothing just to let us in, and they also said that please don't walk around the building to bother other people who live there, because obviously this was the main problem. So that the person, the lady downstairs who let us in, she said finally, like really strictly, that if someone tells me that you bother them like from other apartments, it's not allowed. So she really didn't want problems, and that's okay. But many times I have to say that here in Russia, there is this kind of conflict or problem for even us natives, right? So people from here, we call it the concept of small person with responsibility. I don't want to say anything bad about the lady, obviously, like I respect her job, I respect the rules. But many times in the university, for example, there can be a guy at the entrance who would be just so mean, with no reason, just not being nice, and maybe in a couple of minutes you'll understand why I say that now. Just like shouting at you, or maybe just saying no when there is no reason behind, just because like he can say this. And many times it doesn't make any sense, and socially it's not very nice to communicate with these kind of people. So I thought, wow, but at least there we could get in, and it was really a marvelous experience. We could see the Red Square from there, the other side, because it was the 2-sided apartment. It's like a huge space with a corridor and many, because now it's like commercial. And you could see on the other side the Moscow city. Basically, I can see this building from a window. It's crazy because it's right there. It's famous, and wow, we could get up there. I think myself, I'm just not the kind of person that just to get into a random apartment and try bothering people because I record something, even though I could say I'm not local, or something. But maybe this experience is also nice because it's unusual, and many people would like to see this kind of content just because it's unique. So maybe daring worth, finally the result, I don't know. The second building that we visited, I think I'd never visit by myself. Maybe it's just because I'm ignorant and I'm not a fan of Soviet architecture. Just because I also didn't like living in St. Petersburg. I kind of changed my mind right now because I miss it and it's really beautiful. But there, just because I don't appreciate that much the old building, I'm more like this modern kind of person. I like this fresh energy, fresh, just some modern materials. You can judge by my apartment that I can't stand all those things that are antique and just kind of reminding of the past, which is not currently with me. I'm not talking about special like vintage things that like by themselves. Sometimes they are very, very cute and obviously valuable. And I guess it depends on the personality, right? Appreciating those kind of things, because some of the people work more with technology and more like future technologies and future, heading more to the future. There are more people, other people who instead work with the past, and they appreciate everything that is like, wow, this place, da da da. I appreciate the past, but mostly my personality and my job is dealing with people. So biographies, so this is something that I really love, and all kind of, how do you call it, like wisdom or wise thoughts, books of, something that you can learn from someone's life. Someone, it's like, I always watch this biography movies. Dali, the last one I saw, but every story, I like literally, I see the Lamborghini, or Adidas versus Puma, McDonald's, like the founder is my favorite movie forever, like since long ago. It inspired me to found my own company. 2RU was founded right after the flight from Malaysia, where I watched this this movie. Even now I've got this little notes from that trip, so it's very like talking a bit about myself. Sorry. So the second building was the huge ship formed as well, like Soviet building, and there we had less luck. It was very cold, it was raining, and then the first, like, you should enter the building from the other side, like from the backyard. And then the first entrance we entered, and the guy was really super mean. Like, he was like this, and he said, no, I wouldn't let you in. And I'm just normally asking, I understand if there's something secret or it's not allowed as well, it's fine. But I would like to see some proof, not just because one guy decided not to let us in, right? So tell us, please, based on what you wouldn't let us in, just to see the place, right? But maybe it's just basic security reasons. I don't know. There are so many buildings that are totally available. And here, like, as well, the guy in the end said that if I knew that you visited that person, I would let you in, but now I know that you are not visiting the person, you just want to record, so I won't let you in. So it's just an asshole in the end. But just, the way that he treated us, because you can say it's my experience of international life, right? Because I used to be maybe like that as well. It's maybe some kind of cultural code as well after Soviet. I'm sorry to say that, but sometimes you face really not normal social communications, not okay. When just a random person you meet starts like faltar respeto as well. Treating you like with no respect. Again, we were like, okay, no is a no. If no, so we answered, and he said no. I asked why. He said because. So the typical answer when you don't have arguments. Just because. And we went out. There was this lady of like 75 years old, maybe 80, and she was there with like her bread for some birds outside. And I asked her whether she lived there. Obviously, it was a hook to try to get in with her. And she was like talking. And she said, yeah, I live here from the very first day when the building was founded. And I've got this on the very last floor apartment with 5 rooms and 2 balconies. So imagine, like, it would be super nice to see, just as excursion, let's say, unique excursion. And she was living there alone. So technically, it depended on her whether she would let us in or not. And I was like talking to her 5-10 minutes, and we said some nice things to each other. And then I said the guy just doesn't want to let us in. And then she started hesitating, like. First she said yes, but then she said no, he would make my life like impossible. He would like blame me or call someone and inform that I did this, so I don't want problems. And I was like, okay, but let's just try. And she was nice, like it was very nice of her. She would come in with us, and the guy obviously saw that it was us and just said like this and said no, 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 no. And she was like, yeah, but they, like, you know, they're foreigners, they're making a vlog and that. So she was really a nice lady. And again, as I told you, like he just said, you know, like if you just passed and you said that they were your guests, I would let you in. But as you say that they are here to record, I can't. And so finally the guy who was with me, like she said, no, it's okay. But we went to another next entrance, and there was already another guy waiting for us with this smile and saying to me that here you shouldn't try entering either. And I'm like, why? Because this guy told you. And he said, yes, we already informed not to let you in. And again, it felt just like, you know, this small power kind of thing. So just, he was like, just don't let them in. Again, I respect if there are rules, if it's maybe some important historical building you can't enter. Okay, yeah, but just the way they would treat you, yeah. But you can see different examples, so it's not always the case, and normally people are really willing to help, but this depends, like, because if there's someone on the train, I take the train and people there, the personnel are always so nice. They would just, you don't know why they are so kind to you. And because it's not like it's just their job. It's not about their power, or like they wouldn't feel good because of like not letting you do something like that. So there's just other contexts, I guess. But sometimes at the entrance, so those guys, maybe they're just so bored, maybe... I don't know why, because being nice costs $0. Being nice costs $0, so this is definitely something to improve here. And I want to do courses on how to deal with people, because I work with audience like Spanish speakers before. Previously I used with English speaking students, also exchange students who studied with me. And once I had an international project, like I studied international business, and we always had this mixed culture, like people from different countries working on one business project. And so once I was alone as a girl with 4 guys, and 2 of them were from Switzerland and Germany, and 2 guys were my colleagues from Russia. And normally the Russians would do the whole job. They would do like the investigation, they would work a lot. And the guys from Europe, they would just say, I don't know, maybe it just was one case like this, but they would say, oh, we will do the proofreading, something like that. Proofreading. And so the Russian, like my friends, because we would speak Russian to each other, they would always be so pissed, like, hello? Just proofreading, like seriously. And then in the end, when we had to present, the guys like from Europe, they would say, I will present this part. And the part was written by the Russian guy. So he got so angry. He got super angry and started like shouting. He went like so turned red and started shouting in Russian, like, why should he? Like, he wants to present my part, but he didn't do anything, and da. And there was totally such a case of cultural communication or miscommunication, because the guys were like, like, why would you shout like that? And so maybe, you know, and I felt always in the position of the, you call it intermediary, right? Because I understand this part, and I can like be the one to connect and to explain. Basically, it's called effective communication, right? Because you can't just ignore the other part. You have to learn to listen, to be patient, and to work for the best of the team. But humans are humans, right? And you have to have a really like an objective, some goal to want to learn about those things. And basically communication is something I would like to share my experience with Russians in terms of sales, in terms of teaching, because I'm teaching groups. For now, I don't have an education in teaching, but my mother, grandmother, my aunt as well, they all had pedagogical education, and I feel like I learned it from my childhood. So somehow I knew the basics. Obviously, I want to go and take this course, or maybe it's a university program one day. But still today, teaching Russian, I already feel experienced in that, because it's more about like how people feel in the room with you, and for them to keep motivated. You can't just shout at them and say, why didn't you learn this? Because Russian is hard. Learning Russian is like, it's the third hardest category of languages out of 4, and it is like, if you don't understand the logic, and I'm working now on writing all the formulas of Russian, because normally the explication in the book is like, it's called like this, or this is used like to say that suddenly happened. But it's not just suddenly happened, it's something that you can like imagine visually, and I really feel that there I can bring value. So yeah, this would be it for today. Maybe share your stories in the comments, whether in your country it happens as well, that sometimes people with this of power, they make you feel small, and finally it's not about that. You know, that with the millionaires you feel like they are cool, but with the billionaires you feel like you are cool. And this kind of philosophy obviously doesn't always work with millions and billions, but unfortunately the majority of people in the world make you feel small, and just want to hurt you. And maybe in the past 2 weeks I just received so many negative comments on YouTube. Some of them were bots, and yeah, it's not easy to deal with it when, especially if it happens for the first time. So sometimes you just feel there's so much negativity, and how do you hide yourself from it? So yeah, I really want us to be more kind, to find love, some partner for for life, so that you feel loved, and you feel that there is something good, yeah, something to hold up to. Right, so yeah, this is my message today. Let's be a bit kinder and positive, even though outside it may be gray and dark, but in our heart there should be sun remain. Bye bye. My Instagram is Katya for you. See you next week.